Winston, how you going?
Great, how are you, Mike?
Good, thank you. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks for letting me have you on your podcast.
All good. I'm really excited for it. I thought you'd be a great fit because you've been obviously successful with the job search and also have a very bubbly personality. So I think you'll really add some value to all these students out there.
Cheers for having me, Mike.
Absolutely. Also, okay, so for everyone watching this is Winston, and he's currently an engineer. So he's a graduate engineer at a company called Mintrex. So I'm just looking over at his LinkedIn now. And so prior to this, he studied a Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering in Mumbai. Is that right?
That's right, yeah. Yeah.
And so he had a bit of experience as a grad engineer as well. Decided to pursue his Masters of Engineering in Mechanical at Wollongong University. Then had
That's
a range of different experiences as well during and post this, I believe, as a sales consultant, process technician, and again process technician before landing his job that he has at the moment. Have I missed anything out there?
No, I think you've covered all of that. Yeah, yeah. I had like various experiences in different fields, like in mining as a process tech and like sales consultant. But yeah, you've covered most of it.
Fantastic. And so that's Winston. And the main point of this video, or this, if you're listening, this audio recording today, is to just demystify this whole process for students and grads out there, because a lot of people are confused when I speak to them and they don't know how to make this transition from student to landing a good role in their desired industry. So we're just going to demystify this, dig into Winston's story, and hopefully learn a few things from him as well. That's the goal.
Yeah, I hope you guys all do.
Fantastic. All right. So maybe let's where should we start? Why don't we take it back to say, you're graduating high school and you have to choose what degree to study. Why mechanical engineering?
I reckon the reason I chose mechanical was, I think, because of my grandfather at first, I believe, because he was into a civil background. So whenever I was a bit more younger, and I was always, when I used to go to his house, and so he always used to explain me regarding his concepts and regarding trains and all that. So I was very fond of like equipments and trying to rebuild stuff, and like I was very into automotive, like cars and all that. I think that was one of my sole reasons to choose mechanical in the first place. And then in India, you have these, like, I don't know whether you guys are familiar with it, but we have these traditions where, all right, if you're a boy, it's like either an engineer, doctor, or a lawyer.
Yeah, I saw
or
that.
a CA. Yeah. So it's like you're just following the pattern, but other than that, like I had that passion for like instruments and equipments where I love like what I do, and then yeah, that basically inculcated like to pursue mechanical engineering in the first place. And then yeah, after high school, I think I studied my bachelor's in Mumbai. It's a 4-year course, studied over there. Did a grad engineering experience. During my course, I was there, like, did a couple of internships and other experience in different industries. But after I graduated, I did my like a grad experience role, like for around about 6 months or so, and then I came to Wollongong to pursue my masters. And that was a 2-year course, and Then I moved from Sydney to Perth and did variety of different roles, like as a process tech, because I was more into mining industry, and I always wondered, and I wanted to know more about it. So the reason for moving from Sydney to Wollongong, Sydney to Perth, was also just to get into the mining industry and get a bit more knowledge and aspect regarding it. So I think I've already shared the story with, I think, Mackenzie, regarding how I went to Kalgoorlie. I didn't even know the region. I just drove from Perth to Kalgoorlie, didn't know anyone. Then made met people, and that's how I landed my first process tech job over there. without knowing anyone in Calgary, and that's like an entire different town. I don't know where it existed even. So it was just like just going on the go, and then just like I feel like that's important when you're a grad. You need to constantly network with other people. I think that's where you get like 80% or 90% of your job roles. Like over here, it's like you can apply on Seek, LinkedIn, and whatever, but I think networking can get you until the door, like yeah, through your interview process and everything. Like, and definitely like for me as well, like I'll refer my friend so he has a better chance of getting a job rather than the other candidate because I know him better. So that's how networking works. So yeah, so I'll leave you to Mackenzie. So yeah.
Yeah, that was good. You told us all the story pretty much. That's great. And so you studied the bachelor's and you decided to do the master's. You did it. Well, let's just jump to what you said before about networking. That could be a good place to move to next. I'm pretty sure. In fact, maybe you could tell us how many of the jobs that you got were through networking versus applying.
I think till date, all my jobs I've got till date is through networking. No jobs that I've applied I've got directly. Like 100% of my jobs that I've got, even whether it was process tech, even whether it was a sales consultant role. Like in fact, for the sales consultant role, I was just in the random workshop, and I just met a girl, and we just randomly spoke about each other, and she was working for Alenta Energy, and she was looking for a sales consultant. I said, I was new to Perth and I didn't know anyone at the time, and I said, all right, I'll just give it a go. And then she offered me an interview, and then she liked me and she hired me. Like all my jobs, so I feel networking is the most crucial part in your industry. Like even if you're a graduate, like once you get into the field, like go into workshops, seminars, like Indigenous Australia or whatever graduate you are, like analyst or whatever, like go network with other people, network with fellow engineers so that you can get more regarding it, and you have future opportunities like for it as well. Like, and as an international student, I feel people like coming as an international student, I feel people restrict it a lot. Like they just generally try to apply, like more like 100% of the people just try to apply on Seek, LinkedIn, probably Indeed. Indeed, I think that's it. Like you'll find those, like you're just applying to these 3 websites and you're just hoping that you'll get the job or you'll get a revert mail back from the client or the interviewer. So that's what you're hoping. And international students have to like go through a lot of struggles over here as well because of the visa process, and you'll have like 50 or 60% of the companies that only hire permanent residents or citizens or something. You have those criteria as well. But I feel like networking might eliminate those criteria, wherein some you might even not know that some companies are actually looking for anyone, but they are internally looking, and they'll probably tell their colleagues about it or something of that. Or do you know anyone that who's interested for the role or something like that? And if I'm your friend or if I know someone, definitely I'll refer that person if he's capable enough. Yeah. So I feel networking is pretty important in this industry, in any industry basically, as a graduate.
Definitely. And so the sales consultant role in Perth, that was just through a workshop, what, Engineers Australia workshop, did you say?
No, sales consultant was actually not even a workshop. I just met her in a mall.
Ah.
I just met her in a mall, and she was just standing there, and then I was just waiting for, I think, one of my cousins or something like that, and then I just went and spoke up to her, because I was new in Perth. I didn't know anyone, and I was looking for a job as well. So I said, all right, might as well speak to her. And then she was cute as well.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought so.
but yeah, I spoke to her, and then she was also, looking out for other people for sales consultant roles, and then we got to know each other, and then she called me up for an interview, and that's how I got my first job in Perth as a sales consultant for Alenta Energy. And then because my main goal was to move to mining, so I used the same tactic wherein I went to, because Kalgoorlie is the main region for gold mining in probably the entire Australia for gold mining. So I went to Kalgoorlie uh, because in mining it's basically who you know and not what you know. And it's like you need to get the foot at the door in order to start something. If you don't know any basics regarding mining, like you won't get it. So I just went over there, got my first gig as a process tech, and that's how I made my way up to graduate engineer.
Mm. Okay, and how did you get the? Because most people, I think, a lot of people who, and honestly, you're right. This is the conversation I have with thousands of students and graduates. Literally, I can almost guess how every call is going to go. Pardon me. Whenever I talk with someone, they call me up. I ask them, how long, how have you been trying to get jobs? Oh, I look on LinkedIn and Seek and Indeed, and I use my resume and I submit it, and I've done this like 50 times, 100 times, and I've been rejected every time. I don't know what it is. It's literally, it's copy and paste this situation. So I think you're spot on there. And so one of the reasons I think, after working with a lot of students and grads, that they do this is because it's actually more comfortable than
That's
actually
right.
going out. Like it's like for you going and trying, meeting or picking up that person in the mall. Most people do not have the courage to do that. They would see someone there and they would kind of hide away, or they probably wouldn't even can think about it. So what do you think it was? And you may not have even thought about this before, but what do you think it was that helped you get that confidence to go and do it?
I think the main factor was like I think my main factor was to get the job anyways. So I might as well try and fail and then learn from it rather than not trying. That I think that's what my thinking process was like. Even if because I don't know anyone in birth, what's the harm? Like if even if I like fail in that, it doesn't really matter because no one is judging. Because I think what happens with graduates and students, and you have these peer pressures and you have these family pressures, and they become judgmental at times, and so they refrain from taking action. So you try to go somewhere. So that's why always like graduates and students, they try to sit in the comfort zone and they try to apply jobs, and all right, they hope that it'll work out for them, but it actually doesn't. If you don't go out and look out for opportunities, it really. I'm not saying like 100% of the job is through networks, but there'll be few that you can get through Seek and LinkedIn and like other job websites, but most of the job opportunities are through networking. And like for me, I feel like as you mentioned, like the courage that got me through was my thinking pattern. Probably, I feel like I just wanted to get the role. I was so hunger for it. Like that's why I just probably went and took the action. I think that's what it was for me.
And so when you went and talked to that girl and it helped you get that first job, was that something that a behavior that you kind of were aligned with all the time? Like whenever you went to a cafe or went out, did you talk to other people, or was this an unusual occasion of that specific example?
So yeah, in that circumstances, it really depends then. Like in a cafe, I normally talk to people. It's not that I don't talk, but I think initially I was a bit more like introverted person, where coming from introverted, but also you can say a bit more social when I was back in Mumbai. So because I think I tend to learn from my parents and my family, and my dad. He was a sort of a leader, so I try to enact, or you can say learn from him. And I think that's what made me as well, like to look upon, like I looked up to him for whatever he was doing, and I think I tried to inculcate the same qualities, and I feel that's what's pushed me to what do you say, go out of my comfort zone and like approach people and everything, all that, and change my behavioral pattern. And I feel like I met a lot of mentors all the way who's helped me improve a lot of my like behavioral or financial thinking patterns of how to do and what to do. I feel mentor is a really important part in your journey. I think that helps you like be a better individual, and I feel that's quite important in like even when you're starting as a graduate, or even when you're a student or something like that. I feel that's quite important. So yes, stating the question that you said, but I feel like the courage. I feel that was the main important factor that they just let me go and approach stuff. Yeah.
And so would you say naturally, as you've gone through your journey, especially as an international student in Australia, when many people might shy away from a conversation, you would probably be more the person to have that conversation or to talk to them. And so that kind of, I guess that slight switch in mindset would have opened you up to a lot more opportunity and connection points.
That's right, because like in Australia, because you're coming to a different country where you don't know anyone, right? And the only option that you're relying upon is your friends or your family members or your cousins or whatever you have. But they are in a different state. So basically you don't know anyone in that state, even because I was from New South Wales and my cousins were from Perth. So basically you're entirely relying upon yourself and your friends. So my thought pattern was like, rather than relying on everyone, just go and do it yourself and like take the action rather than like be dependent on it. Because what graduates tend to do is, all right, my friend is applying for this job. Probably once he applies, I'll wait for this thing and then I'll apply, or I'll ask him about it, how and what he's doing and everything. So rather than doing that, I feel like probably just go and take in the action, and then even if you fail, all right, we'll just move on and learn from your failure. I feel that's an important aspect in everything, whatever you do. I think that thinking pattern was switched on when I moved from India to Australia, because it was just basically you and yourself, and you had a lot more responsibilities to do as an international student. So I think that was switched on.
Yeah, it's really good, and I've noticed that a lot of the best relationship builders, the people with big networks, I've noticed they do make an effort almost everywhere they go. Like, not in every case, but a lot of people, almost everywhere they go, they just make an effort to introduce themselves to people, say hello, and even just a tiny bit of a chat.
That's right.
It's quite cool, and that's, I guess, something that with getting jobs, when you apply that same approach to then an online platform like LinkedIn or something, and you may not have used this too much, but that can really help as well, because you've got a lot more scale and leverage. You can be talking to 10 people in 30 minutes from your couch with a bowl of ice cream, watching Netflix. So that's really cool. I love it. And so that's kind of how you got the sales consultant role. And bear in mind, you also had some experience back in India as well, which I think probably helped set you up a bit. Like, you had the business development consulting experience as well. In India, and you also had the graduate engineer experience in India.
So regarding like whatever I do, like even my engineering, like I like whenever I had these VAC programs, as you call it over here, whenever you have these like summer vacations, or I used to do internships, and where you get that experiences, like whether it's graduate. So I had a month worth of experience in manufacturing, and then some months of experience in business development, and then some in railway industry. So I got all these experiences while I was doing my engineering. So I was constantly like not only studying but also gaining these experiences. I think that one factor was all that remained in me even when I came to masters, doing my masters. I feel when I was doing my masters, I also gained several internships, participated in various university competitions and all that. I think that's what like prolonged me to like go forward. I feel those experiences can be much more valuable. So I think one, take out like that I will suggest students is like new graduates that's coming in as an international student, like don't waste your summer just by just working. Probably go out, gain your internships or vacation back programs, or like your summer intake programs, and you'll have a better chance of landing a job later when you graduate. Before otherwise so you have a better shot at opportunities rather than just like a freshly new graduate. So
That's a really good good insight. And so with these jobs over in India, how did you get these through your connections as well, or were these through more of a recruitment process? I know things sometimes work differently over there.
So like most of it was through my connections as well, like most of it. And but my grad engineering role was through a recruitment process, like after you graduate, because in internships over there, like it's pretty hard to get, honestly. Like, so if you don't have connections, it might be a bit hard. But now it's changing. Previously, when I was there, it was a bit intense because they don't offer like a 1 month internship or anything of that sort. But yeah, the grad role was through a recruitment process. That's how I got my job for the internship and grad role. Yeah.
And over at that university, did they actually just come to the campus and try to recruit you? Is that how it works there as well, or was it different?
Yeah. That's so in India. I think it's a different pattern. So you have all these big companies. They come to the universities. They'll have like several rounds of like for the job, and then you just participate. If you're eligible, you participate in these companies, and then that's how they recruit, and they'll offer you your package and whatever. So that's how it works over there. I think over here, like I think everywhere else, it's just like a graduate job fair, or where you just go and you research about the company and everything, and if you're eligible, you might be able to get a shot at it. That's how it. But over there, it's like slightly different. So it's basically you're depending upon your university to give you the job after you graduate. It's something similar to that.
That would be good, wouldn't it?
And to be honest, it's actually good. It's not as, and there's like big colleges like IITs and IIMs and everything where you get like big 6-figure salary and everything like that, and Google, and you have all these companies coming in recruiting it, and once you get placed, it's just like, you don't need to search for a job, you just directly get placed. That's it. So to be honest, you have certain advantages. I'm not disagreeing to the fact, and I definitely would love to have that fact over here as well. But but I think every country has its you have this ups and downs, and you have like so I feel when as an international graduate, when you come over here, it's better start networking from the day one itself, so that you get like way ahead of the game, like as you graduate.
And for you, if you had to say there was like a student right now, they've never networked or talked to anyone in their outside of their circle in their life, maybe they're early on in their degree, just starting out, if you could kind of give them, let's say, a couple of recommendations on how to network, what would you recommend?
Okay, so in that aspect, or in that scenario, I think students or graduates, whatever they would be, like they'll definitely have something they're working in some hospitality industry or whatever they're working, or they'll have their own circle. Try to like what do you say, mingle in the community circle inside, what do you say, I think that's the best way to network. Try to mingle inside the community circle. You'll find a lot of like community circles inside, or groups inside colleges or universities. Try to get take a position or be like involved into these active co-curricular activities. Try to go and look for opportunities over there. Then you'll find opportunities in your workplace where you can go and speak to other people, like whether you're working in hospitality or whether you're working in retail. Like try to speak with the managers or like your friends or colleagues. Who's I think you like that's two major what do you say, places that you look towards. And I feel for me, like I'm coming from a Christian Catholic background, so wherein you'll have communities inside, what do you say, the place you're staying, and then you try to attend those programs, and you'll have smaller communities inside that. So you'll have these small groups where you can try to mingle with people, right? And then try to get what do you say, like more out of it. So I think once you get involved with these people, like you can know how's the journey and what did they do to survive over here coming as an international student. And I think you'll get a better understanding of what it is that you need to do.
Okay. And for you, do you have any tips on what you actually would kind of say to someone? Say you meet someone at a, I don't know, say you're working at a cafe and, I don't know, someone who's you're serving or something, it seems like they kind of want to chat.
Yeah.
For example, do you have any tips on what you might say? I'm just wondering, I'm just curious. You seem to have a knack for it.
Probably I'll just ask them about about the day or something like that. How's your day going? How are you feeling today? What are you up to? Where are you working? And just random basic questions. And then definitely if they're good, they'll definitely answer back. And I think that's how you like a one-line openers, where you can tend to like start the conversation. And then like if you are into, basically sport is a major thing, right? If you're into some sport, like let's say footy or AFL or soccer or cricket, like there'll be people like who definitely love sports, right? So I think that's a major conversation breaker, like a one-line opener where you can get more into it. All right, oh, you love this person, you love it, so you'll say, oh, he loves that person, and that's how you get along. And I feel sport was also one of my major conversation. Like one line is like where I love soccer, and there was another guy who loves soccer, or my favorite club is Manchester United. All right, his also favorite club is Manchester United. So that's how we we related to each other. I think personal relation goal, like how you relate, that's more important. So I feel sport is it's like a key breaker where you can break your, like even if you're introverted, right, you can still break the niche if you love the sport that you're in. So that's how you start. And then once you get along, you can meet other people, and yeah, I think that's how you can go about doing that.
That's funny as well, because I think when we had our first chat, we probably bonded over Manchester United.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we would have.
Yeah.
It's a good tactic, isn't it? It's the way when I'm doing interview practice with people, one of the ways I like to explain it to them is like, it's like the person you're speaking to, they're kind of like closed off right now. You don't really know anything about them.
Yeah.
And one of the main ways you connect with people and build a relationship is because you have those kind of connection points. There's that value transfer between the person, and if you're both interested in the same thing, that is a form of value transfer because you're kind of connecting. It's almost a bit of entertainment, and I guess it adds value. So how do you figure out about information about the person? by asking those questions, that's what one of my favorite questions as well. Just asking whenever I have a call with like a student or grad who comes on, I might ask them, how are you going? They'll say, I'm going well. And I say, what have you been up to today? What have you got? Or have you got, maybe it's early in the day, have you got much planned for the day? Then you get to really know about them. They might say, I went for a run. You might say, what are you running for? Is it more for fitness, for this? And then you start to get the more questions you ask, using basically the, what do they call it? The 5 W's, I think, and the H. Who, what, when, where, why, how. That's a good little tactic. So you basically just pick one of those words and just use it. So if they say, I've gone for a run, you say, how long did you go for? Was it a long one? So you can only just pick one of those words. And the more you open it up, then you have connection points. They might say, I'm training for soccer. I go, that's awesome. Where do you play? I used to play as well. Who do you support? Or they might say, I'm just training for a run. My partner, she runs all the time. What are you running for? And then you open up those connection points as well, and it helps kind of build that trust. It seems like it's pretty similar to what you're doing as well.
Yeah. Like that's what I was doing as well. Like just trying to gain their trust and gain their value. I think that's most important, because relatability is like, it's essential. Like if you don't relate to that person, you might as well don't talk. So I think that's pretty important. And I think you, like as you said, you nailed it. Like who, what, when, how. I think that's important. Yeah, I think once you get that, it's pretty easy. Like and sport, and if you're into fitness, these two are the major key breakers that you can go and then talk to anything about. Even if you're an introverted person, like even if you're into a sport or fitness, I think that's easy to talk to.
Yeah, there are a lot of connection points, and I think that's where it comes from as well. It all kind of, I think it all adds on. All the things we're talking about today all kind of add. They almost combine together to a sum that is greater than the sum of or the parts themselves. So why I'm saying this is, just one of the things that you're saying, which is something that I've always been very pro or I've always done myself, is getting as much experience and exposure to different things as possible. Like you've got lots of internships, lots of jobs, trying different things, talking to different people, different countries. Same with me, different countries, different people, tons of internships, tons of jobs. And when you get all that experience, then when you go and connect with someone and they say, I worked in this industry, you say, I worked in that industry. I love that industry. Because I used to live in Africa, something that a lot of people don't know about me. I lived in a lot of countries. And so even a silly example, I was doing a consulting project when I was working a little while back, and there was someone from Africa, from the place where I was living, and he was like, you live there? You live there as well? And I was like, yeah, I did. And I was talking to him about the local street food and the culture, and he was just like, this is amazing. And instantly there's that connection point. So I think the more kind of experiences you have, the more, or the better your ability to connect with other people as well. It's kind of a...
That's right. That's right.
Almost like a compound...
I think that's nailed on, I think the more experiences you have, the better you can relate with people. Yeah, that's it.
And if you don't have much, and then someone says, I walked my dog today, you're like, I've never seen a dog before. Don't know what that is. And it's harder, right?
It's pretty hard, yeah, that's it, yeah.
That's really interesting. I like it. I love the tips here. I was going to cover something, but it slipped my mind. Yeah, so the next question, I suppose, for you is, because at first I imagine, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong here, but at first I imagine for you it's more been about just building a genuine relationships as a priority, and then maybe that turns into jobs. Is that...
That's right.
The same philosophy you've...
Yeah. Like, to be honest, like, I never approached the person that I want the job for. I just basically, my main intention over here when I came to Australia was building relationships and making friends, because over here, like, I didn't know anyone. So my first major goal was to make friends and building that like relationships so that it'll be then grow and then like nurture that relationship to a professional opportunity or something of that sort. I think that because at the end of the day, like, it's not only about jobs, it's about like your future. You need to have that balance as well. Like you need to have that friendship, that circle that you can rely on if something happens and all that. So I think that's one of the key like thinking criteria that I had when I was approaching a person.
Yeah, that's a really big tip, because again, one of the things I can almost guarantee you most people try and do when they're students and graduates, not everyone, but a lot of people, they hear everyone talk about networking and, you have to know people, but they don't actually get to know the person before asking them for something. So they'll actually I know people, they just send out hundreds of messages and it says, "Hello, David, can I please have a job at your company? Kind regards." And it's just like,
oh, shit.
Yeah, lots of people do that, or that they'll apply for a job and say, "Hey, just letting you know, I really want this job," kind of thing, and it's just like, what? So it's inverse. I think if, like you're saying, if you build more of, I guess, a habit of building more relationships genuinely, and not really, yes, I guess if you're really searching for a job urgently, you might speed that up and get to the point a little bit faster, but ideally, I mean, you've got that relationship base and it's just genuine. And when you look back at the fundamentals for landing jobs, as you know, there's a few key criteria, I guess, almost boxes you have to tick if you want to get a job. And one of them is they obviously need to like you, right?
That's right.
And they need to trust you as well. They need to like you, they need to trust you. And if you can also, through those interactions, come across as an excellent person, as I'm sure you do, someone who's passionate about their industry, who's got the skills, who works hard, and they know that as well. Yeah. They're pretty much all the things you need to make a hiring decision.
That's right.
And then they go, well, I could go for all these other people, but I got Winston here.
Yeah. No, I think that sums it up. Yeah, I feel you said, like, try to develop the relationship. If you like, I think the best way to do about it is when you're a student itself. Try to when you're coming as an international student, like, try to develop relationship with the lecturers and your professors and your workmates or anyone. Like, then it comes a long way. Like, even if they might sometimes work out of the way just to help you out in some projects or anything of that sort. I think relationships are quite important, and the way you look at it, I think that's what return you get, the way you go about doing it. I think that's how important it is to keep it.
Definitely, and that's another cool point I think you kind of brushed on there, which is the thinking and not thinking about not only just the first order consequences of your actions or results, but the second order, the third order. And so I think a lot of people think, if I'm working in hospitality and I, just treat this customer really well and get to know them, and maybe they're a consistent customer, they're coming to the restaurant, they don't think, that might, have a second or third or fourth order consequence. But then you think about it, and as you can see, that person, you never know, they might say, what are you studying? Like, what are you studying? And they might ask you about it, and they say, actually, someone's hiring right now. Let me put you in touch. Here's their number. And that's the second order. Then you might have the third order consequence, and people often forget that as well, right? They're always looking at the shiny thing in the background, the fourth order consequence, but they haven't thought about the steps and the stepping stones.
And to be honest, this actually happened, not with me, but with one of my friends. All right. So I used to work in the retail, and he also used to work in the retail industry before when we were students. And I think one of the customers, they just randomly, like, he was a consistent customer who used to buy cigarettes, and he one day he asked him, like, what does he do, what does he study in, and all that. And then supposedly that guy was like, he was a retail manager of some company. All right. And he was looking for someone. And then he said, all right, he told him that I'm so and so, and then why don't you come to my company and have an interview with me? And then he said, then that my mates, he said, yeah, I'd love to and everything. And that's how he got the job. Like, it's basically like you never know where the opportunity awaits. So it's basically treat every opportunity as you're treating as your own. Like you never know what comes next. So I think that's why developing those relationships early on, it's an important factor to it's a very important factor in life. So yeah.
I agree. And one of the guys I previously interviewed on here, Brooke, he was talking about, because one of the big things that happened to him and actually helped him figure out what he wanted to do for his career is he was working at a baby retailer, baby products. I think they sell I think they sell breast pumps and like baby car seats and stuff like that. Anyway, he met a guy who actually owned his own, I think, corporate finance firm. And so he delivered him such a good service, and he was actually, the guy who owned the corporate finance firm was actually telling, when they came in next time, he was telling his wife, he was saying, oh, this is the guy, he was really good, and he ended up taking him to his office, teaching him all about corporate finance, giving him all the right contacts, all these sorts of things. So crazy stuff can happen.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's the thing, you never know. So I think whatever job you're in, I think treat it as it is, and then make relationships, develop the relationships early on. So I think that's a good stepping stone for everyone.
Definitely. It's really powerful, and what I've noticed as well is almost the opportunities that people tend to get are almost, not every time, there's always lots of outliers, but on average, the number of opportunities or the job opportunities they get are correlated to the number of relationships they have. And when they grow that relationship base, the more opportunities come at you, right?
That's right. There's also a saying in relation to that. Yeah, it's like your net worth is your average of 5 friends. It's something related to that or something like that. Yeah. So I think the more relationships you have, I think the better you are as an individual, or the better your worth. So yeah.
Definitely, it's very interesting, and I know we've gone for quite a while now, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time. But one thing I really wanted to touch on was you said you were quite introverted, and I would also consider myself. I've probably become more extroverted, maybe just extroverted recently, because I've had to, especially with my work and the business as well. I kind of need to go a bit out there. But I think typically I'm more of an introverted person, and especially before I started all this, job stuff, I've been very introverted. And for me, I distinctly remember my dad just saying, go up. I never had a job before. He was saying, go into these cafes and restaurants and just hand your resume in. And I was so scared and frightened, and I'd rather just kind of sit at home back in the day and just play video games. So, and I know there are lots of introverts as well out there who who are more comfortable just sending an application, and when they get to the interview they get nervous and they're kind of not sure what to say. Do you have any tips for people who may also be, or have at least been introverted in the past?
I think the best way to go about it is just take action. I feel don't worry about the consequences for the moment. Just go and take action, and don't worry about what people might think or what people might say, because introverts are basically those people who wonder or who think about what other people's opinions might be. So that's why they hinder the chance to take action. I feel rather than doing that, just go and take action. And I think once you do that, you will have a better, you'll get out of that comfort zone, because that fear it's what hindering you to go and take that action. I feel probably just trying to even if you do a role play with your parents or your mates or something like that, just do it. Or even in your community, just do a role play of how you're going to do it, and then and go and do the same thing with a stranger. And once you do that, once you're comfortable enough in doing one, or do it once a week, or do it twice a week, or something like that, once you're comfortable enough in talking to a stranger, then I think that skill is probably unbeatable. You can then survive. That's it. And I feel that skill is very important in surviving and as well. Like as an individual, where even if you don't know anyone, how will you do it? Like you just need to go and speak to people, and how you're going to do about it. It's basically like either doing role plays or whatever is it, whatever you like watching videos or like just go and take action. I feel that's important.
One thing I'll share is customer service roles. I think really help. At least for me, like when I worked at Kmart, and I was that guy. I don't know if you've seen in Kmart when they stand on the door, and like you walk. They give you a special mat to stand on. Apparently, it's like healthier for you or something. And then when people walk in, you have like your little earpiece, and you're just like, "Welcome to Kmart." That's what I used to do, and I used to check people's bags on the way out. I had to look into their bags and say, yeah, cool, see you later, all that sort of stuff. And then working at Uber as well, I had to basically serve a lot of the drivers and make sure they were happy and that they were on board and that their queries were solved. And that is, for me, that helped a ton. That really transformed my ability to just talk to random people, because if you just do something 1,000 or thousands of times, you usually get better at it.
I think, now when you said about Uber, all right, I still remember my business development consultant role when I was in India. So I was working for a project for a logistics company where we were modeling the behavioral qualities of a driver and how we can improve on that. And I used to speak to like literally like hundreds of like 200 or 300 drivers in a day in several cities. Like they'll have a different dialect and they'll have different way of speaking and all those, and different countries even, like in UAE. So I used to speak in UAE markets, and then Indian markets, predominantly Southeast and Northeast. So I think that probably was an added advantage because I got that training early on, and I think probably that fueled me to get out of that comfort zone easily when you try to speak with different people. The more you speak, it's like practice makes your man perfect. The more you do your stuff, the better you get at it. I feel that's what helped me as well. Yeah,
definitely.
So true.
Thank you for sharing. And we didn't really get to it before, but the graduate engineer role you got, could you just briefly explain how you got that? Because I know you got quite a bit of work experience. You got the process technician roles. You hadn't had, I guess, apart from, you did have the internship in India with the engineering, but not in Australia. So how did you move from where you were with the experience, the international experience, to getting that offer? And actually, I believe, I don't know if you want to share this, how many offers you got, but you got one, right?
I got two, but
it's only two. I mean,
but regarding the internship, the graduate engineering role that I got is, as I said, same thing happened with networking as well. And through your course as well, I found out like a lot of important elements that was covered in your course that was really, really helpful for me. And the same networking skill that I had, what happened was there was this guy who was working for another mine site that I met in one of the outlet stores out here, and I was buying some present for my cousin, right? And then he was also trying to buy the same present, and we both looked at it. I said, "Oh," because there was only one remaining. I said,
"Such a good story."
Right, and it was a Pikachu, all right. And my cousin, she loves Pikachu. It's a Pokemon.
I used to binge Pokemon, so yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I was buying that, and there was only one remaining. And said, shit, he also wants it, and I also wanted it. So, what should I do then? Then we just started chatting, just randomly started chatting, and it came out like the mine site that I was working in, and he was working in the same mine site for a different company, but I had never met him, but he was working on the mine site as a project engineer. So I just basically met him like that. We had a couple of more meetouts, like build up the relationship that was as much. And I think after 3 months, he like randomly like messaged me and said, "Oh, Winston, do you want to come for an interview or something of that sort?" I said, "Yeah, why not? Definitely, I'm still looking out for opportunities here." So that's how I got my went for interviews, and then that's how I got selected, and yeah, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Crazy. And so with the other offer, how did you get that one?
I think that one was through LinkedIn. Yeah. Because they had seen my profile and they had approached me through LinkedIn, and so that's why I think profile building in LinkedIn is a very powerful tool. So profile building in LinkedIn is also like very important. So I feel Mackenzie's course covers like 99%, like probably 100% of it there. I think he's really doing a very good job, and yeah, I definitely recommend anyone starting as an international graduate to join the course. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think that's why like LinkedIn building is like pretty important tool. So I didn't get referred; they just approached me, and that's how I got my interview, and that's how I got selected for the rounds and everything. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's how I got my other job. Yeah.
Awesome. No need to plug my program. It's all good. It's all good.
No.
That's not what this is about. This isn't about me.
No. It's just you've helped me through a long way, so definitely grateful for it. So yeah.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. And I know I don't want to keep you for too much longer. My last. Can I ask you two little small questions?
Yeah, go for it.
So the first one is, you talked about a little while back, I've kept a mental note. You said it's really important to get coaches and mentors along the way. So it sounds like you have acquired some of these. So for students and grads, maybe they could be graduated, they could be going through uni, maybe even right at the beginning, before maybe they haven't started uni yet. What would your tips be with regards to mentors and coaches? Why do you need one? Do you need one? How do you find one? How do you get one?
Okay, so regarding that, first you need to know what your passion is, all right? What field you like, right? So once you get to know about that, then you need to probably look if you're an international graduate, all right? Even if you're in your university that you're in, right? Even the professors or your university lecturers can be your coaches or your mentors of how you do stuff. And I think once you gain that, and so probably they can tell you what's going on in the industry, and they can be a roadmap to you, okay, what you can do, because they have like certain experiences, like 20-30 years of experience in the industry, so they'll have a better understanding of so that guidance can be provided to you. So that's why it's always better to have that early on experience. I didn't have it early on. I had it in the later half, but not only in like engineering, I had it in basically I'm more, as you know, I'm more into stock markets and everything as well. So I had mentors over there. So I think Warren Buffett, he clearly stated that whatever you do, always have like a coach or a mentor to do stuff, and always learn from those. That's very important. Always learn from those who's already successful in the field. So that's also a very important aspect on it as well. So so with mentors, even if your friend who's really good at it, or he's really successful at it, he can be your mentor, or he can be a coach of how to start as a graduate, or how to go about doing stuff. And if you're really passionate about stuff you do, like there'll be a lot of people who are willing to offer you or be the mentor. Or I think that's one thing that I've found it's pretty good about Australia. Like people are very helpful. And they if you go and approach them, it's not that they would say no. It will definitely go about way from their listening, and they'll try to help you out.
Yeah, that's really good. And it's I suppose if someone's achieved something that you haven't, you could probably learn from them, right?
That's right.
I mean, I guess it's kind of like, I haven't thought about this too hard, but what it seems like to me is there's two options. It's trial and error, or basically reverse engineering it by looking at someone who has done it and saying, "Hey, how did you do that?" And then so you don't. It's like saying, "What are the codes to this lock?" versus trying every combination for like a year.
Yeah,
right?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. The first method will take you a bit more longer time. It's not that you won't get it. It'll definitely take you a bit more longer time. The second option, it's a bit more faster, but it might be, it's not easy to get. So, yeah. So,
Definitely.
yeah.
And again, I would also agree, for me, mentorship has just like sped up my journey by who knows how many years.
Yeah.
So
I think that's really important in a journey.
Definitely. And the last question I have, because I don't want to keep you for too much longer, is students and grads watching this right now, they've all obviously got quite a lot of insight from you, quite a few tips, etc. But if you had to just give them some final words, some final tips or recommendations based on your learnings so far, now having secured many jobs, good ones, and multiple job offers as a graduate in your field,
yeah,
what would you say to them?
I would say, as a student and as a graduate, first of all, gain as many experiences, as many internships while you're doing your course over here. Second thing is network as much as possible. Whatever industry you're working in, doesn't really matter. Like, network as much as possible, and like go and try to build it early on so that once you graduate, you can leverage it and you know more people and you know like where the opportunities are, and then try to build mentors rather than in the later stage of life. In the earlier stage, once you're just as a student, like try to approach your university professors or those who are for engineers, we have Engineers Australia, all right? So you have many project engineers, or you have senior ops managers, or everything who have those conferences. So as a student engineer, you can go and attend those conferences, and that's how you can make and develop new relationships, right? So I think network, gain more experiences, and do have fun along the way. Yeah, I think these three are quite important. Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate you taking the time, especially on a Saturday morning.
That's all good, Mackenzie. Anytime.
I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you again. And yeah, thanks for everyone who has listened or watched this. I hope it was useful in some way. And yeah, I guess if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them through to me. And if there's anything else you'd like to see us kind of do in these sessions, also happy to listen as well. So thank you. Thanks, Winston, for coming, and thanks everyone for listening. I'll see you next time.
See you. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.